Hello guys, today I wanted to show you how to diagnose a very annoying fault code that appears on Mercedes cars that are equipped with m113k engine. I haven't seen that fault appear on the naturally aspirated engine, but it is very common on the supercharged engine, and I've seen people change throttle bodies and whatnot, and the fault code still persists. So in order to diagnose this fault, you're gonna need a scanner. It's really the only way to know which cylinder is actually problematic. So this is my launch scanner. This scanner is pretty good for Mercedes, but of course it's not as good as a Star Diagnostic. So this is the fault code. It's a p20 alpha 2, and basically the car is thinking that you're getting air from somewhere after the throttle body, which causes it not to run idle properly. It sees that constantly has to adjust. So what's actually happening is you have just a little nibble, a partial misfire of some sort. So this is why it triggers this fault. It wants you to check for vacuum leaks, and of course I've been ignoring this fault because it says this fault can be ignored and erased. I mean, what better thing than that? I mean, but don't think about just for a second that when they designed this car in Germany and they built the car and they saw that fault code and whatever, we're just gonna leave it like that. No, that's not the case. If you're getting that fault, there is a problem. So proper way to diagnose and figure out where the problem is, you have to go into a data stream, and then we're looking for smooth engine running values. So there is let me see what it is. There is a fault counter also that counts misfires, but that doesn't catch anything. That will tell you 0 misfires. There's a fault counter. If I go in here, I will have 0 misfires, and it will not tell me anything. But if you go on a smooth engine running, and we're gonna mark all the cylinders here, and the car is now fully warmed up. You can diagnose it at when it's cold. Usually electric problems appear when the vehicle is fully saturated with heat, and but it's different every time. So what do we have here is smooth engine running value, and the value is not specified. It is 1 unit per second square. So this unit signifies how many units the engine accelerated and decelerated for 2 seconds, and ideally you want this unit to be 0. You want the engine to have constant speed. But now if this was there's constant adjustment going on, and if this was Star Diagnostic tool, it will tell me the value here is acceptable value of this 1 unit is between minus 3.5 and plus 3.5. As you can see, it's constantly shifting. So what you have to do is you have to sit here and look at that. Just look at it for a few minutes if you wish. So the car runs somewhat even, idles pretty good, but every now and then there's a little hiccup, and that hiccup is a problem. That is what causes that fault to appear. You don't feel it much when you're driving. You don't feel it much when the car idles. It just only sometimes appears just a little hiccup when you're idling, or just you get off the freeway and you wait on the stop sign, and just when the car idles, it's just there's a hiccup every now and then, and it's not registered as a misfire. So if we look at these values here, I mean, the most I will see is 126. So these cylinders are pretty good here. So anything that it's above 3.5 is a problem, and it will, if you monitor, actually, there you go, we have 379 for a second right here. This is what I wanted to show you. If you sit and just watch it, eventually, I mean, you will notice that my cylinder number 1 has the greatest value between all the rest of them. It doesn't misfire. It's just a delay. It decelerates and accelerates constantly. The computer is constantly trying to adjust this cylinder to make it work as close as possible to zero as it can. But in my case, I already replaced one. In my case, what ended up being the problem is one of the coil packs. And it's really the easiest thing that you can replace on these engines. This type of fault can appear for several reasons. It can be between injector, low compression, or spark plug, or ignition wire, or coil, which end up being my case. But what you need to do first is you need to sit here with the scanner and see which cylinder has the greatest values. So whichever one that, look at it, that was a 5.5. Okay, so that cylinder number 1 has an issue. So I already know it's the coil. So the car has 150,000 miles. I mean, technically you should replace all coils at this point. I already replaced cylinder number 2 coil, but the only way that you know which coil to replace, or which injector, is you have to have the scanner to see which cylinder is problematic. Otherwise, you're gonna be just spending a lot of money on changing parts that are still somewhat good. Yes, they're 15 years old, but each coil is roughly $50, so there is 8 of them, and that's $400 some. So I already swapped coils around on this cylinder, and I already know that the coil is the problem. And like I said, that is the easiest fix here. If you have to replace injector, it's a little more involved than just replacing a coil. Is a matter of unscrewing one screw and unplugging the spark plug wires. So yeah, I've had this fault not appear, like before I figure out what's happening. I've had this fault not appear for about a month, and then all of a sudden appears. This is intermittent electrical problem, and is not big enough for the computer to acknowledge it. And even though this should be considered as a misfire, if you go on a fault counter right here, it will not register a misfire, not even once. So yeah, this car also, some cars don't support smooth engine running values when you drive them. this car does. So even if it doesn't show itself at idle, you can have a friend with you and just go on the freeway and he can monitor the scanner for you while you're driving to help you diagnose. There, as you can see, cylinder number 1 is showing nothing, zeros here. So yeah, before you guys go further and change throttle bodies and replacing unnecessary parts, this is what you need to do in order to diagnose this fault. I would swap coils first and then sit and watch it and see how it behaves, and then I will swap injectors, spark plug wires, spark plugs. And I mean, first thing, if you remove spark plugs, I guess it's always good to check compression, make sure the cylinder is healthy. But yeah, the only way to know which cylinder to go to is if you go in a smooth engine running values. So that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.